Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Daily Blunt. I'm your host, Dab Fett. Today we're going to talk a little bit about politics, medical marijuana, some entertainment, and some feel-good stories for you. So let's get started. You know, one of the big topics the last week and the week before and the week before that is major medical marijuana reform coming straight from the White House itself. Now, there's been a lot of talk about this before from previous administrations. Obama. Before that, it was, Bush. Before that, Clinton. This has been talked about for a long time, and we've seen medical marijuana change over the years. So hearing the current administration talk about this, well, not only does it please the Democrats who want to help people, because we're literally changing medical marijuana across the United States so that federally we can take care of patients who can benefit from this. But at the same time, we're pleasing the Republicans by leaving the control of recreational in the hands of the people and the governors. So everybody's happy in the long run. The left is happy, the right is happy, even the center is happy. And I know what you're saying, Donald Trump, really, Jay? Come on, man. No, seriously. Ask my producer. This guy's been talking about prison reform for the last week. Took out his little pen, signed some major prison reform we haven't seen in like 2 or 3 decades. This is a good sign. This is something a rock star like Kanye West's wife, Kim Kardashian, which I don't know what she's famous for, but she is.
A sex tape.
Okay, so yeah, it was a sex tape. That's the thing now, sex tapes. But she was able to talk to President Trump about prison reform. This helps low-level offenders, non-violent offenders, basically get a second chance. And that's great because if you didn't commit a violent crime, why should you be treated the same way as a violent criminal? And that is common sense prison reform. Now, this might mean something like early release. This could mean something like early release, removal of certain restrictions. That remains to be seen, but we're already seeing major change. So we're going to see that very same change come to medical marijuana. And again, it's going to leave the power of recreational decision in the hands of the state itself. So if this were to actually go through by the end of the year, it could be a major windfall for medical marijuana patients across the United States. And honestly, you have 33 states which already have a major medical marijuana program. Don't you think it's a little bit, the rest of the United States should catch up? And that's important. So we have major medical marijuana reform. We have major prison reform. These are two things that kind of go hand in hand. A lot of low-level drug offenders like Kim Kardashian's relative that was given a pardon. She didn't do anything violent. We're seeing that reform. We're seeing people given a second chance. That is good for everybody.
What relative is that?
Democrats wanted reform. They're getting their reform. Democrats wanted medical marijuana. We're getting medical marijuana. Who knows what 2018 is going to end with and what 2019 is going to begin with. But already, it's starting to look really great for not only people and patients like myself, but people that are in prison. It's going to be a great 2019, just looking at where we're at now. Speaking of which, getting a little serious there, I like to take some time. I want to talk about a little bit of entertainment. One of the things that's I've really gotten into is the new Doctor Who. It's the first time in 50 years we have had a female doctor, and I have to say, aside from little things about the production of the show looking way too professional, I love the fact that we have a female doctor and she's so fun. Everyone's Welsh, which I don't quite get that one. And my producers like every time we watch the show, They're Welsh. But it's a great show. So I'm a little disappointed we're not going to have a Christmas episode. It's going to be at New Year's. Yeah, it's going to be a great holiday episode either way, so you're going to have to tune in. And if you don't follow them on Facebook, I really suggest you do. You're going to get a lot of really great inside Doctor Who season 11 stuff. Go check it out. You know, loving the Doctor Who, and it's been really great. So, can't wait to see tonight's episode. We're going to talk about it on Tuesday's episode, so check that out. Now, speaking of sci-fi and medical marijuana, I want to move right into something that's important for a lot of patients, and that's talking about strains. Real quick, I want to talk about rare dankness and Star Killer OG. This is a strain that's great for people who suffer from cancer, who suffer from AIDS, who suffer from PTSD, anxiety, or depression. It's one of those strains that's great across the board. It's a hybrid strain. It's won multiple cup events. If you're in Vegas or Denver, I highly suggest you look up Champion Cannabis or Green Man Cannabis. They'll be happy to take care of you on all of your Star Killer needs. It's one of those strains that will help you through that chemotherapy side effects, or it'll help you with a major PTSD flashback, and it can even help you navigate through the mall if you don't like being around people because of anxiety issues. It's a great strain, and it's a great company. The founder himself, Scott Reach, isn't just somebody in the business. He's also a patient. You can read about him in several different publications. This is a guy that was handed a terminal diagnosis and put his own life in his hands. And now he's doing great, and he's helping a lot of patients, not only here in the United States, but worldwide. So if you get a chance and you're looking for a new strain to try out, I highly recommend walking into your local dispensary and saying, yo, give me the Star Killer. It's great in flower form, and it's great in extract form, according to all the veterans and cancer patients that have had a chance to drop a line to me. Speaking of which, if you'd like to drop a comment, you have a question, hey, drop it in the comment section or send me an email, dabba.fet@yahoo.com. Be more than happy to answer your question on the show. Now, we're getting into that time of year where it's all about giving. And I can't think of anything more this time of year than Thanksgiving, being with family, eating Thanksgiving dinner, watching the Cowboys whoop some ass, and also watching the Macy's Day Parade. Because at the end of that parade, you get to see Santa. And when you see Santa, you know it's Christmas. And there's nothing, when I think about Christmas, I think about those Coca-Cola polar bears. Oh, and Toys for Tots. I love Toys for Tots. It's one of those organizations that was founded by a Marine and his wife who didn't have kids. And they wanted to provide Christmas presents to every child out there. And that's a big, big undertaking. And everybody has stepped up. From the Air Force and Navy, who provide the planes that take these presents not only all over the United States, but all over the world. And we have the Army providing the logistics and transportation on the ground to get these packages where they need to be. And hey, guess what? The Coast Guard has R6 getting everybody on the coastal waterways.
The producer is former Air Force, by the way.
And our producer is former Air Force. And she has told me about some of the logistics that goes into providing that. In fact, real quick side note, when you watch that Santa tracker this year, thank an Air Force veteran, guys, because they make sure we all know where Santa is. So this time of year, when you're out doing that Black Friday shopping, take 5 seconds. Go by a toy store. Grab an unwrapped toy and take it to your local Toys for Tots kiosk. There is a child out there that would really appreciate what you're doing for them on Christmas. And honestly, it brings everybody together. So all you got to do, grab a quick unwrapped gift and just drop it off. As a final thought, I want to do a final thought on those of us that think about everybody else this time of year. This time of year can be hard for people. The suicide rate goes up. It's hard for everybody, not just veterans like myself and my producer, but anybody out there. Just because you think they're the strongest person you know, still, give them a call. Check on them. See how they're doing. That favorite uncle that is always there for you, give them a call. Take them out for a taco, guys. That little act means everything. And this time of year, it gets crazy. You have family, you have everything going on. But you can take 5 seconds out of your day and make that phone call. Stop by their house. You know, it doesn't take a second. Just think about that. Y'all have a good evening and tune in for the next show. Y'all be cool.